What's going on, guys? This one's gonna be a pretty long one because it is a 9-game slate. I will try to be pretty quick with it, and I'll go in an order that makes sense. So highest paced games to lowest paced games, and we'll go ahead and get started and figure out what are some plays that we can play tomorrow. Of course, throughout the day, injury news will hit, so you will have to change a couple things. But let's see what we can learn from what we see. So the best game on the slate, according to Las Vegas odds, is the Orlando Magic versus the New Orleans Pelicans, which run at a 227 current open, which means that total is going to be that high. So we'll cover that game first. Now, injury news on Elfrid Payton. He's still out. He will miss the New Orleans game as well. So let's go ahead and look at some of the possible plays. Now, Orlando did play today, and I'm gonna look at the score. It was 113 to 120, and it looks like everyone got a good amount of minutes. So they are on a back-to-back. So I just want to check a few things. So Gordon got a hefty amount of minutes at 36 minutes. Vucevic at 33, which is fair. Fournier 38, Ross, and then the rest. Simmons did amazing. Didn't even notice that. But let me just check how some of the players do on back-to-backs. We know that Davis is a better defender, so he'll be guarding Aaron Gordon, which does limit his upside. But Aaron Gordon is the #1 option on the Orlando Magic. I believe, let me just check Anthony Davis's defensive rating. I'm pretty sure it's the best on the team, but I can read you who is the best defender to the worst defender on the New Orleans Pelicans, at least for the starting lineup. I know it shifts when the subs get in there, but for now we'll take a look. So Davis is actually kind of right in the middle. He's the best defender on the New Orleans Pelicans. Josh Smith is actually back as well. He doesn't play a lot of minutes, but when he's out on the court, he is the best defender, according to this site that I'm using. It looks like DeMarcus Cousins is actually a better defender than Anthony Davis as well. And Jerry Holiday is better than Cousins. All right, hold on. Let me just look at the starting lineup so I can tell you guys for the top 5. So Cunningham, okay. Starting lineup: Cunningham, Holiday, Davis, Cousins, and Moore. Okay. Let me just look at Moore real quick. Okay, so far this season, it goes Etuan Moore is the best defender, very surprisingly. Then it goes Jerry Holiday is the second best defender. Then it goes Cunningham's the third best defender. Then it goes Cousins, and then Davis. So that means, I mean, they probably got harder matchups, So I'm guessing that it kind of shifted a tiny bit. But I thought Davis's defense was the best. But if that's the case, then you could attack Davis with Aaron Gordon. That might not be too bad of a play. He's pretty consistent. Aaron Gordon gets pretty much around 30 points, 35, and has a decent amount of upside. He's the #1 option. Today he got a pretty good score, I think. A decent one, I'm guessing. If in 36 minutes, he probably got a decent score. He racked up a total of 17 points, 2 blocks, 2 steals. So that's 25. 4 assists, so that's over 30, and then 9 rebounds, so over 40. So I'm totally fine at 7,500 for Aaron Gordon tomorrow. They're going to need him to play well. The only worry is if he gets in foul trouble. Davis and Cousins both draw a lot of fouls, which may limit Vucevic's and Gordon's upside, but you might have to take a chance because it can either go one way or another. It could be really close and you'll miss out on a lot of value, or it could be a blowout and you miss out on a lot of value, or you'll screw up on a lot of value. So I'm fine with Gordon and I'm fine with Vucevic. It's just those are the 1-2 punch. But I just don't know about this game right now. You could always, from the Pelican side, I would go Davis and Cousins, though they have a hefty price tag. I don't know about the slate tomorrow. Since it's a 9-game slate, I might try to look elsewhere unless I can fit one of them in. If I had to pick one or the other, I'd probably go Cousins, but I want to check the defensive matchup on the Orlando Magic. Okay. I always thought Terrence Ross was a pretty poor defender, but right here it says he's a pretty decent one. So same thing with Fournier. Gordon is the worst defender on the Orlando Magic. Very surprising. So Gordon's the worst defender, so maybe I'd go Cousins. Not Cousins, Anthony Davis, because he'd be guarding Gordon, and they might go back and forth. You never know. So I mean, last year it was a lot different. The defensive ratings last year were kind of mixed up, and like everyone thinks like Lillard and Kemba and James Harden are the worst defenders, but this year they're actually pretty damn good. It's showing that they're actually good, which is very surprising. So can't really tell much yet. We don't have a very good sample. I'm sure everything will even out during the rest of the season, but for now, the NBA is very sketch, so you kind of have to take it, game by game and see where you can collect some value. So the reason why Simmons did so good yesterday is because Jonathan Isaac's out. He's out. He might be out again. If he is, you can definitely look at Simmons. He's only 4,400, but a lot of people are going to be point chasing there, so also be kind of wary. You can go Fournier. Fournier's in a decent spot. He's his number 3 threat. Let me just check. He does put up a lot of shots. I know he puts up at least like 10 a game, so 10, 12, 9, 21. Gordon probably throws up, probably the most. And then Vucevic also throws up a lot as well. And Vucevic is pretty solid value. He hasn't really hit that low. 26 is his lowest game, and that was against San Antonio. So he's pretty decent for 7,200. The usage rates. Goes Vucevic number 1, Fournier number 2, Gordon number 3. So, but Gordon is the most efficient out of all of them. Then it goes Vucevic and then Fournier. So I would be fine with that. Though I want to check how many rebounds that New Orleans gives up per game, because it can be pretty intuitive to see how many offensive rebounds the Orlando Magic will get. And if they don't give up that many offensive rebounds, then it might be pretty poor rebounding night for Vucevic and Gordon if they can't crash. So New Orleans is that number 16th in the league at giving offensive rebounds. So yeah, I'm totally fine with Vucevic and Gordon. They can get a decent amount of offensive rebounds, so totally fine with that. And the 3 plays I'd probably play, or the plays on the New Orleans side, probably Cousins, Davis, and Holiday. I wouldn't go anywhere else. Jameer Nelson's just way too pricey for me at 4,600, and I'm not sure about his minutes yet. Too pricey for me. Each one more, you could, but it's still a pretty high price. He's getting around 20 points, but at the same time, Fournier is a pretty tough matchup. He could do well, but I probably wouldn't touch anyone else on this list. On the Magic side, I would definitely go Gordon first, then Vucevic, and then Fournier. So right in the order of their pricing. It's just the statistics kind of match up. Augustine, very spotty. Not spotty, but I don't know if I can do it tomorrow. It's very tough. He didn't get that many minutes today. He only got, I think, 24, so he could possibly get more minutes tomorrow, but that's still kind of risky. But I also want to check Aaron Gordon's back-to-back and see how he did last year on back-to-backs. I know he wasn't that elite of a player last year, but it can kind of give us a little bit of a reference. On back-to-backs, Aaron Gordon had his best games. He averaged around 16 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists compared to like his other games where he did like a lot poorer. So totally fine with that on back-to-backs. Vucevic as well. I want to check Vucevic and Fournier because someone's got to score on this team, and it could be either one of them. You can also go, I guess you can go Shelvin Mack as another flyer. Simmons is a flyer. Orlando has a lot of flyer picks you can go to. If Isaac is out, again, you can definitely go with Simmons because it looks like he took over the minutes for Isaac, and I can show you guys the game log in just a minute. I'm just looking at Vucevic's back-to-backs last year and see how he did. It's really tough to predict back-to-backs, but if a player gets a low amount of minutes one game, they're probably going to get a higher amount of minutes the next game, and a little bit of vice versa, but it really depends on the game script, how it goes. So back-to-backs, Vucevic did very, very poorly. 13 points and 10 rebounds. Not poorly, but compared to his other games where he gets like 3 days rest, he averaged like 20 points and 11 rebounds. So if anything, I would say Gordon, and I'm going to check Fournier's as well and try to be a little bit quicker with it because I don't want this video to be too long once again. So Fournier on back-to-backs last year was about average, so he's also a fine play. He did about the same as his regular statistics, so I'm totally fine with that. And yeah, let's move on. I think New Orleans is pretty clear. It's very high pricing, so it might not be worth it, but you can choose who you want to choose, especially since there's a 9-game slate. You know, there might be a lot of value tomorrow, so pick and choose how you wish. The next biggest game on the slate is the LA Clippers versus the Golden State Warriors, and the Golden State Warriors did play today. Everyone got about an even amount of minutes, so feel free to play all the Warriors, all the starting five. Besides, I mean, you know, the big four: Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson. I probably wouldn't take anyone else if I was going off one lineup. I just want to see how they did in the past, and obviously that was with Chris Paul, but Beverly is also a very good defender, so it can kind of mimic it away. I know Chris Paul and Patrick Beverly are kind of similar defensively, so that can kind of match up. And Beverly's kind of annoying, but he likes to take on the challenge, so guarding Steph Curry might be a not the play tomorrow, and you might want to go KD all the way. 9,800 though is a pretty big price, though. He has the ball in the fourth quarter, him or Curry, and you also have Klay in there that takes a lot of the shot usage away. So last year, Golden State played the Warriors or Clippers 4 times, crushed them in this game. As you can see, Griffin did okay, and everyone else did okay, but Curry did the best here. That's because it's pretty clear that Chris Paul was out, so Curry had the time of his life. He just waltzed on to a pretty much a 60 bomb. So against Beverly, though, I think he is in a tougher matchup. Again, he did really, really well. So did KD, and that's because both Luka Mbamute was out and Chris Paul, which are 2 elite defenders. So kind of the same story script here. We'll check one more time, or there's 2 more games. We'll check 2 more times and see what happened. So now they got their starting small forward back, and they still are missing Chris Paul in this game. And Curry went off once again. So if people are checking past game logs, they might want to pick Curry again. But I might not want to go down that route. But I think I do want to go down the Kevin Durant route. Okay, this is when Chris Paul was in. As you can see, Steph Curry's points were limited, but his steals went up. So he's bound to score less if he's facing a good defender. And Patrick Beverly, he's a good defender, but he can still hit value, but it's just a lot more difficult, and the probability of him hitting value is a lot less. So that's pretty tough. And small forward on the Clippers is Gallinari. Let's go ahead and check his defensive rating out to see if he is a good defender or not. I think all the Clippers are decent defenders. They have all of them have really, really, really high ratings. Even yeah. So even Gallinari is a pretty high rating. DeAndre Jordan has the best rating on the court, then Blake Griffin, then Gallinari, and then Beverly. So, and then Rivers. So you can it's gonna be pretty hard. You can't really take defensive rating based off of that because the Clippers did also just let up like a bunch of points to Detroit, I think, when they played them. Not a bunch of points, but they lost. They still gave up like 30 points. Never mind, not 30 points. That was on a different night. But still, I mean, if Las Vegas odds has this game going up to like 220 something, then someone's got to score, and I feel like KD is the guy. He's facing Gallinari. Still a tough matchup, so you might have to pick and choose here. But I mean, if I had to pick, I'd definitely pick Kevin Durant out of all the players, and then maybe Draymond Green, since it's gonna be a close game. He's gonna get some playing time. You could also Klay Thompson. He's bigger than Austin Rivers, faster than Austin Rivers, so he can definitely shoot over him and get around screens and stuff like that. So this one's also a pretty tough game to decipher, but if I had to pick, I would definitely go Durant, Green, Griffin, Thompson, and then the likes. You can also choose down here. I'm trying to see if there's anyone that I'd pick off the Clippers bench. Lou Williams, maybe, but he hasn't been getting that many minutes lately, and his price is still high. It's just, I predict this game to be a lot of scoring, a lot of threes are going to need to be made, so possibly. It looks like Griffin takes the most shots, then Gallinari, and then Rivers. So it's kind of those three that take all the shots, and then when Lou Williams gets off the bench, he's a pretty high shot taker as well, so someone's going to need to score. Don't know if I'd take that many people from this game thinking about it now because it's kind of tough to find value. The next highest game is the Minnesota and Miami game, and that is a 216 total. This one is a lot. I feel like a lot better to stack. All the guys are decently priced, and you should be fine. I think Miami's defense is okay. It's not the best. I'm going to check some of the Miami defenders real quick so we can get an inside look on it. Yeah, Miami's defense is not that good, so we'll be fine with a lot of plays here. So let's go ahead and look at the starting lineups for the Miami game and the Minnesota Timberwolves game. So we have Jeff Teague, Jimmy Butler, Wiggins, Gibson, and Towns versus Goran Dragic, Waiters, Richardson, James Johnson, and Mickey. I don't know if Mickey's gonna start. They might start him. They might start Adebayo or something like that. It's very iffy with the Heat. So if Whiteside is out tomorrow, unlikely, yeah. So I'd be fine with James Johnson and Kelly Olynyk. As we saw in the past, Kelly Olynyk soaks up a lot of that minutes. 24 minutes. Didn't play a lot against San Antonio, but he does a lot within his minutes. So I'm totally fine with that. James Johnson also gets a bulk of the minutes. Very, very solid player at 6,600. It is a high price to ask for, but he fills out peripherals pretty well. And they're definitely going to need him against the Minnesota offense because it is a pretty high-powered offense, so they're going to need someone to defend out there. In terms of boards, I want to see how good Miami is because then I might want to pick Towns on that side. Miami has given up the second least offensive rebounds in the league next to Milwaukee, so Minnesota's not good for rebounding tomorrow unless they just get defensive rebounds. So that kind of takes me off of Towns a tiny bit, but he still can score, and he'd be going up against supposedly Jordan Mickey, and if not, Adebayo or Adebayo. I don't know how to say his name. Adebayo. He gets to start sometimes, so I'm not really sure. I'm gonna check both Adebayo's and Mickey's defensive ratings as well, so I can see if they're decent or not. Mickey is a very good defender. Jordan Mickey is a very good defender. Very, very good. And then Adebayo is not so good of a defender. So depending on who starts, if Jordan Mickey starts, I'm kind of off Towns. If not, then I'm really on Towns because Adebayo is a bad defender. So he can get you a double-double, but his rebounds will definitely be coming on the defensive side since Miami gives up, I think, only 6 or 7 offensive rebounds per game, which is very low compared to some of the other teams. Like San Antonio is actually not San Antonio. Portland's giving up the #1 amount, which is 14 offensive rebounds per game, so that's a crap ton. So compared to that, 6 or 7 rebounds per game is not enough to go around. I mean, you probably get like, I don't know, Jeff T getting a couple, Jimmy Butler getting a couple, Wiggins because they're pretty aggressive. On the other side of the court though, I'm totally fine with Butler. I think he is in a good spot. He's on the uptrend. He's getting the amount of minutes, and he hasn't hit below 30. So he's besides the San Antonio game, but this is a better offensive game for him. So he's in a fine spot. He takes a good amount of shots per game. I think he's on the uptrend. And if this is going to stay close, which I definitely predicted to stay close because they're both in a good position. I think this is fine here. I want to check their records. Not that it matters too much. But if they both have decent records, then, you know, they're playing for something. So Miami's 2-3, and then Minnesota is 3-3. So they're kind of close. On the Minnesota side, if I had to pick first, I'd go Jimmy Butler first. Then I would go Towns, Teague. I'm not too big on Wiggins. I know he's can go off at any time. It's just he doesn't do anything else besides score. If you check his game log, it's only scoring. So he has to put up a lot in order for him to hit that $7,000 value. So at 6,800, it's kind of too much to ask for. I'm fine with Jeff Teague. As you can see, his upside is there, and only at 6,000, he can definitely get you value. Looking down the court, you could go Gibson. He is starting. He gets a decent amount of minutes sometimes. Only a GPP play for me. If the game stays close, they're going to need him down the stretch. And I could also take a shot at Jamal Crawford as well. Just a hit or miss with that. Shabazz Muhammad, I'm a bit off because Wiggins is back, or Jimmy Butler's back, so he's not going to get that many minutes. A little bit off the bench, but not much. So you really only have the starting 5 and then Crawford off the bench. Dieng just hasn't been producing much, hasn't been getting that many minutes lately, so until he starts getting more minutes, I'm kind of off him. Even Belajica has been getting more minutes than him lately, so, you know, kind of off. On the other side of the court, we have the Miami players. I'm going to look up the Minnesota's defensive stats this year. You guys think Jimmy Butler's the best defender on the Minnesota Timberwolves, but we'll see about that about this year. Towns is the worst defender on the Minnesota Timberwolves in the starting 5, surprisingly. I thought he was decent. I didn't know he was that horrible. Wiggins is the second worst. No, it goes Towns is the worst, Teague is the second worst, Taj Gibson's the third worst defender, which I always thought he was a decent defender, but I guess not. Then Wiggins, and then Butler. So Butler is the best defender, but he's still at a defensive rating of 111, which is pretty horrible. So anyone on the Miami team can do well. But if I had to attack someone, I would definitely pick James Johnson first. Since he is in the second best spot, he could score. He takes 14 shots per game, which is not horrible. And then 6,600, he can cover that pretty well. And he has a pretty safe floor, so I'm good with that. And I'm also decently stoked with Goran Dragic's price here at 6,500. Now, he is a bit lazy when I see him play. It's just sometimes when he's playing the point, he just doesn't attack as much. He doesn't dish it out. He's kind of lackadaisical at best. But at 6,500, maybe this is his breakout game. I mean, he hasn't topped more than 35 points in the whole entire season, so maybe this is a spot. It looks like he's not doing so well without Whiteside. I think that's where all of his assists goes to, because last year it was a lot more assists, about 5 or 6 a game. I've seen him get double doubles and assists too. So with Whiteside out, that's actually pretty interesting topic we'll pull up. With Whiteside out, who has been getting more usage? Well, actually, we can actually use this. You can see that it goes Dragic, Johnson, and then Waiters. But I just want to see who gets the rebounds and stuff like that from previous games that we can look at, especially if it stayed close. I think this game's gonna stay close as well. So against the Celtics, Richardson's doing decent. Waiters is always a hit or miss, so you can also go Waiters. Olynyk's getting good time, good plays. Johnson's getting a lot of minutes. Seems the usage just goes to Dragic, Johnson, and then a little bit of mix of Waiters, Richardson, and Olynyk. So let me just check a second game to make sure. Yeah, Dragic takes the most shots, then Johnson. So number 1 option is Dragic, number 2 option is Johnson, and then either Waiters or Richardson gets a little bit of it, and then the rest goes to the bench. I wouldn't really be looking at anyone else off the bench, though. I mean, you could take flyers on like Tyler Johnson, Olynyk. Anyone else other than that, I'm not too hyped on. Yeah, Dragic seems to be getting his healthy amount of 16 shots per game. He just hasn't been knocking it down. So 6,500 might be a decent price. Still putting up over like 13 shots a game. Though, if he gets like 30, he'll like just reach value if he gets like 5x. So might not cut it. Definitely a GPP night for me tomorrow. Okay, so next game is the Philadelphia 76ers versus Houston Rockets. This is a game that I definitely like. Definitely more for me than anything. And especially if Eric Gordon's out, that makes everything a little bit easier. A little bit. But if Chris Paul's in, that does not make it easier at all. Of course, on the Houston side, you would definitely want Harden, Capella. Definitely Harden and Capella are the 2 stackable ones. Capella, if he does not get in foul trouble with Joel Embiid, he's a fine play. Last time against Philadelphia, I'm pretty sure he got a 50 bomb against them. 54 points, yep. He did fine against them. He did rack up 4 fouls, but he still got a lot of playing time, so that's totally fine. Anderson raised in price after his 2 stoked outings. You can also go back to him now that Gordon's out. Someone's going to have to score. You could also go Ariza and Tucker. Those are decent plays. I was never a big fan of PJ Tucker, but he could do well. He gets the minutes. He just is so nonchalant about his minutes. So that always takes me off of him. Eric Gordon's out, which means Bobby Brown's going to get some time. He hasn't been doing a lot in his minutes, but tomorrow might be the night, so could pick him. But my top plays, James Harden has been so not up to par. I know he's hitting very like decently high scores, like over 40 every time, but I'm used to him hitting like 50 a night, 50 or 60 a night at least minimum. At this price tag, it's gonna be pretty hard to pay up for him. He needs at least 60 for me to be happy with that $11,000 price. So I'm not really sure. So we'll have to take a look at that more in depth tomorrow. If Gordon's out, hypothetically, James Harden should have got more of the usage, and I think that he will tomorrow. He put up 19 shots. He just missed a lot of them. So I'm totally fine with Harden tomorrow. I may be fine with him. I'm definitely fine with Capella, and then I'd flyer on Anderson Ariza and stuff like that. Maybe Ariza's a decent price since he's at only 5K. And he should get a lot more usage. He hit 25 points last time around, so that's 5x his value, so it's not too bad. And if this game stays close, which I definitely expect to be close, Philadelphia is a good team, and they're going to always put up a fight. They got a lot of young talent, so they're definitely a force to be reckoned with. On the Philadelphia side, if JJ Redick is out, you can also, I would look at Saric because he's going to take his spot. He's not a bad play. He's only at 4,400, and he got 30 minutes last time. Only put up 21 points, but there is upside there. Simmons and Joel Embiid do take up the majority of the points, so you should definitely look towards Simmons and Embiid to be the facilitators. Simmons is a really, really solid player. Definitely going to win Rookie of the Year for sure. I'm like pretty positive about it. I knew that in the beginning of the year, but he very active. The offense runs through him, especially when he's on the court. He gets more minutes than Embiid usually. But the offense also does run through Embiid when he's on the court as well. Embiid never dropped past 38 points. So if he's playing, which is he should be playing, I am totally fine with playing Embiid for a solid 5x value. Could be 6x tomorrow. Yeah, I'm totally fine with it, especially because they're going to need him against Houston. Houston's high-powered offense. But now that Eric Gordon went down, it's going to be a lower-powered offense. I believe it's going to be close. Against the Grizzlies, that's a tougher defense. They lost 103 to 89, so they only scored 89. And Philadelphia is a decent offense, so expect this game to be kind of close. So I'd probably go, based off prices, I'd go Simmons, Embiid, Capella, Harden, and then I take flyers on everyone else. Covington can do really well. He's a hit or miss also. Last time against Houston, got 37 points. He'll be going up against Luke Mbamute, most likely. So it does scare me a tiny bit, but he's more of a steal and block and rebound type of guy. Also, he only shoots threes, so totally fine with the play. Also, if Redick's out, McConnell's such a fine play. He's killer lately, so they're bound to give him more minutes, and he's still pretty cheap at 4,400. So I'm guessing he's gonna be pretty highly owned tomorrow. So you could also take a flyer on him, and then of course you got Bayless, and then that's about all I look at after that. Tomorrow, the next game after that is the Toronto and Portland game at a 215 total, and I actually really like this game. I think there's a lot of solid plays. You know, from the Toronto side, I would definitely think about stacking Lowry and DeRozan. They're both only 7,600 and 7,900, and if DeRozan gets you like 45 tomorrow and Kyle Lowry gets you 40, that's a pretty solid way to start off your night, or I guess end your night because they're only at 10. Other plays you can look at from the Toronto side, you can look at DeLon Wright. He's been doing decent other than that game against the Los Angeles Lakers. They just didn't need him there. But he's the first point guard off the bench, so he's not a bad play. Flyers on CJ Miles and Powell. Either of them can go off, but more likely than not, they're gonna miss value. Here's an interesting one. Siakam, I really liked him in the preseason. He's still only 3,800, and since the 2 games he started, he's been hitting 26 and 30 points for value, pretty much 77.75% from the field. Basically didn't miss these 2 games. Could be cold. If he's cold, he doesn't really do much besides score really, so it might be kind of tough. But if he goes off again, he'll definitely hit value. A safer play is Podol. I really like Podol whenever he's in the game. He's very, very, very active. Even in 19 minutes, he got 23 points, so that's at least 4 times value. At 5,200, he's gonna need at least hit 5 or 6. 30 points, I'd be happy with that. he can definitely do it tomorrow. And he gets most of his rebounds off offensive rebounds. I can take a look at something real quick. Maybe to convince you guys about playing Podol or Ibaka maybe. So let me see. Okay, against the Warriors, I just opened up 2 games, 2 most recent games. So against the Warriors, Podol had 11 offensive rebounds. So yeah, he gets most of his rebounds from offensive rebounds. And then he didn't really get that many rebounds again in the Los Angeles game, but he got 3 offensive rebounds for the Toronto Raptors, which is the most out of all of them. And if we're taking a look at who gives up the most offensive rebounds per game, it's going to be Portland at 14.2 offensive rebounds per game. So they give up the most offensive rebounds per game. So Podol seems like a pretty good play tomorrow, especially since he's the best offensive rebounder on the team. He's a decent play, and if it's gonna stay, even if it's a blowout, he's gonna get minutes, and he's still gonna get his 20 to 25 minutes if it's not a blowout. And if he's playing really well, they'll keep him in, and they'll sit Siakam. So he'll be in the Final Four. It'll be him, Ibaka, DeRozan, Powell, and Lowry in the final team. So if they elect to go small and keep Wright in the Final Four, then that would suck. But I think that Podol is a fine play tomorrow. I'm also fine with Ibaka as well to get some offensive rebounds. Yeah, 14 rebounds offensively. They're gonna have to go somewhere. So I'm totally fine with attacking the Portland bigs. I'm gonna check the Portland bigs the Portland defensive statistics. Lillard is actually one of the best defenders in the league so far. So is Nurkic at the start of the season. McCollum's not so good of a defender. Amina's a good defender. Amina's a really good defender. So Siakam might have a hard time putting up shots tomorrow if he's defending him. And then who else do we have? Harkless. We have Harkless, who's an okay defender. So if I had to attack, I would attack the shooting guard. So DeRozan against McCollum, I'm definitely fine with. I have to reset my mind from last year. I still haven't gotten over the fact that a lot of the people last year that I thought were really bad defenders are just, I think it's a good matchup, but it's just killing me this year. People that are supposed to be good in spots are just not doing good. It just seems like a good matchup from last year's point of view, and it's just not. It's like so enticing, but it's really not. So I have to look at it from reset my mind to look at it from this year's statistics, and I have a 5-game sample or however many games they played. So I'm gonna start taking it from that instead of actually taking it from last year's, because sometimes people's defenses improve. Even James Harden, which is very surprising. So if I had to pick DeRozan, then Lowry, then Podol, and then Ibaka, those would be my picks from the Toronto side. Portland's a different story though. We're gonna go look at the Toronto's defensive matchups and see what we're working with. So Lowry and DeRozan are both right in the middle at defensive statistics. Powell is a really good defender, which last year I thought he was a horrible defender. Siakam's not so good of a defender, and then Podol is a good defender. Nogueira is the best defender, but he's out. And then we have Ibaka, who's also a really good defender. So it's gonna be pretty hard to figure out where to attack, but it looks like the power forward has the best spot. So I would look at Aminu, number 1. But, he doesn't throw up that many shots, so we also have to see who takes the most shots. And we also know it's McCollum and Lillard, so I'd be fine with either of those. And especially since it's got to be close, you can either stack those two or take one of the two, because Lowry and DeRozan's defenses are right in the middle. They're not the best or the worst, so totally fine with that. And Lillard got 49 points last time, or 2 nights ago, and then McCollum got 44, so they're pretty stackable. If you combine them, they probably get you around 80 to 90 points. Decent stack. I probably feel more comfortable with stacking the Toronto side about Lowry and DeRozan, but you never know because the way things are going this year is very, very surprising. You know, I still have to find my groove. I haven't hit 300 yet, which I was hitting 300s like easily last year. So this year, either I'm not figuring it out right or something's gone astray. Could have been the swap of the teams, players on the team or something like that, but I think I'll be fine later on. So let's just go ahead and go into the next game. We have Charlotte and Memphis. I'm gonna stay away from this game. It's too risky for me. It only has a 194 total. Memphis is 4-0 at home, 5-1, and then Charlotte is 0-2 away. So it's probably gonna be a blowout. It's a 7-point open, but Charlotte's on a back-to-back. So I really wouldn't feel comfortable taking anyone from this game. On the Memphis side, maybe I would only go for Conley and Marc Gasol. Charlotte doesn't even give that many offensive rebounds up, so. And now there's Memphis. Memphis actually gives up the third least, so I'm not really good on Dwight Howard either. It's just tough. I mean, Dwight Howard does get most of the rebounds off the defensive side, though, so maybe, but he's probably a pretty high price, I'm guessing. 7,600. That's a pretty high price, I guess. If Kaminsky's out again, who picked up the minutes for Kaminsky? I'm guessing it would have to be Cody Zeller if he was back in, but let me just check. Okay, they played Orlando today, and Kemba Walker killed it, which he was in a very good spot to kill it, so. It looks like Cody Zeller picked up a few minutes, Van Small, and then Marvin Williams picked up a little bit more minutes. So you could go Marvin Williams tomorrow, but he's so spotty that I don't know if I take the chance. He's pretty low price, I'm guessing, though. 3,900 maybe, actually. Maybe. If he's going to get over 30 minutes, I might take a flyer on him. Hoping. I guess you could pick some of the Memphis players. If you predict it's going to be a blowout, you can. I don't even know if I probably wouldn't go Parsons, but I mean, if he gets hot again, maybe. But I would say the best play is probably Tyreke Evans at 4,900. Just so active when he gets time. Hit 30 points in a row, 2 games in a row. I'd be fine with that. He's probably got his minutes capped again, but until they unleash him, he's gonna be a good. Gonna stay like kind of right at value. You could take flyers on the rest of them, but Memphis is too spotty for me to be in a one. If I'm playing one lineup, it's gonna be too spotty for me. And then we have Dallas Mavericks, Utah Jazz. Vegas odds has it at 192. So the absolute worst game on the field. So I'm not gonna cover it, but all flyer plays. I want to see if anyone's actually pretty cheap that you can take advantage of. And then I think we'll go to the New York Knicks and Denver game, which we'll take a fairly long look at. You could take some players like Gobert and Rubio. I'd be totally fine with Gobert and Rubio. So, I mean, players are pretty low. It's just even Donovan Mitchell, who's been going off. Mitchell went off last game. I was watching that, and it was just a sight to see. So, could take another flyer on him. It's just, I don't know. I'm not feeling it too much, especially since I'm rocking one lineup now. Well, I always say I'm rocking one lineup, then I always end up making 2, which is really strange. Like I have like I should stop that. I should only make one lineup, but I feel so good about my lineup, and then before lock I always change it, so I gotta stop doing that. But it's very tough. I get very persuaded at the end of the day. Okay, so then let's move on to the Nuggets and New York game. This is a great game to be part of. I know they just both put in a back-to-back, but this has a lot of juicy stuff in here. So let's go ahead and get started. And we have New York giving up the 4th most offensive rebounds and Denver giving up the 5th most offensive rebounds, which means this could be a battle of the bigs down low. And they also have a lot of wing shooters as well, so it could be a very high scoring game. You just saw Hardaway go off. Porzingis and Kanter both went off. You have Millsap, Jokic. So let's look at some of the defensive matchups so we can see where we can kind of see who to play on each side. So going on the New York side first, we'll take a look at the defensive Denver matchups. First, we have Jokic right in the middle. Millsap is a worse defender than Jokic, so that's kind of interesting. Gary Harris is right in the middle. Murray's right in the middle, better than Harris though. And then Chandler's right behind Millsap at 4th worst defender. So, where is it? So we have the worst defender in Millsap, then Chandler, then Harris, then Jokic, then Murray. So you could go Porzingis, Hardaway, and then Kanter. I'd probably take Porzingis, Hardaway, Kanter. I mean, they're in line for good stats tomorrow. I want to see how good of an offensive rebounder Porzingis is. I would feel much more comfortable with Kanter actually. I've seen Kanter play and he is a beast on the boards, especially on the offensive rebounds. We'll just check his last 2 games just to make sure. So yeah, so Kanter has 5 offensive rebounds, Porzingis has 1, but all the defensive rebounds kind of fell to Porzingis in a way. So let me just check Kanter's other game against where they just played against Cleveland. We'll check the Nets and Boston because he only got 16 minutes there. I don't know what happened. Something happened. He still did well. 6 out of 8. I don't know why they didn't play him more. But 3 offensive rebounds. So I'm only looking at offensive rebounds. 9 offensive rebounds for Kanter. That is a ton. So Kanter basically gets his rebounds from the offensive side. And if Denver's giving up the 5th most offensive rebounds, I'm totally fine with Kanter. He's very active on the court. His per 48 stats, I'm guessing, are very, very high. 29 and 22 with 1 block, 1 steal. So I'm a Kanter at 6,000. I know it's tough to pay up for. But he's been proven to just shell out value every time he's on the court. The only thing you have to worry about is foul trouble with Jokic. I can never predict foul trouble. I'm telling you, I try to predict it, but you just can't. You can never predict it. I mean, against Embiid maybe, or against Harden maybe, but it's still super hard to predict that type of value. But yeah, I like Porzingis and Kanter both. I like Kanter a little bit more here, but Porzingis could be a very good play, especially since he's the #1 option. Killed it today. Millsap's like 6'10". Porzingis is 7'3". He should have a major height advantage. And last time Porzingis faced a Rondae House Jefferson, who's a 6'8" or 6'7" player, and he just crushed him. So he should have a totally fine time today. And he went against Kevin Love, who's today, which is he had a pretty big height advantage too. So totally fine with both of them. On the Denver side, or I guess we'll continue with this side. You could go Hardaway. He did very well today, and at 4,900, he could probably continue the hot streak. He's going against Wilson Chandler, who can defend him pretty well, but he could get hot again. I liked what I saw. Then I'd take looks at Jack, Lee, Flyer, Nicolina, Flyer. Everyone else probably not because too spotty of minutes. Too spotty. And then on the Denver side, I like a decent amount of players here. Let's see how many offensive rebounds that the Nuggets, the players on the Nuggets got today. They faced the Nets today. I'm guessing that Millsap is probably the better. So they basically got no offensive rebounds against the Nets. Very interesting. Let's check another game. What about against the Hawks? Well, let's see how many. The Nets are like right in the middle about giving up offensive rebounds. So, yeah, 4 for Jokic and 2 for Millsap. So they're probably gonna get a decent amount of rebounds tomorrow since the Knicks do give up a lot. So I'd be fine with Jokic and Millsap. I'd be more fine with Jokic because actually maybe the thing is I don't know because I think Jokic might actually guard Porzingis, and that might be a very tough matchup for the both of them. Let's see what happened last year when the Nuggets and Knicks went at it together. If Millsap faces Kanter, Millsap's probably going to eat because Kanter is a horrible defender, I think. Let me just check the Knicks defensive statistics and I'll tell you who is the best to worst defender on the New York Knicks. Okay, the New York Knicks, we have who else is on? Derrick Jack, Sessions. Okay, we have Kanter with the worst defensive stats. Then it goes Porzingis. Then it goes Courtney Lee, Hardaway Jr., and then Jarrett Jack. So Jokic or Millsap, whoever's going against Kanter is gonna have a ball tomorrow. I don't know which one it's gonna be, but whichever one it is, they're gonna have fun tomorrow. So I think I'm gonna look into the game script more and choose from there. Maybe look at some of the play-by-plays in last year's to see who played who. But it looked like a freaking high-scoring game almost every time they played. So let's take a look. Knicks and Nuggets last year, 127 to 114. Porzingis with 22, 2, 8, and 3. Courtney with 10, 1, and 1. Hernan Gomez killed it off the bench. Chandler did okay. Gallinari did okay, or he's not on the team anymore. Jokic didn't do that well this game because he had 5 personal fouls. That means he was going up against Porzingis, and that is my worry. If he goes up against Porzingis, we're gonna be in trouble. We're gonna be in trouble. I think Porzingis draws a lot of fouls, so that's scary to think about. So I mean, if Nikola Jokic can stay out of foul trouble, he will get you a ton of points. Look at this: 49 and 5 and 2, high upside, very high upside. Even Chandler did well this game. Porzingis actually didn't do well this game, so I'm thinking he was guarded by Jokic, because Jokic's defense is right in the middle and he's pretty long and stuff. So I would also much feel comfortable tomorrow with Kanter because I think Kanter is gonna guard Millsap and then Porzingis is going to guard Jokic. So let me think about that. I'm not positive, but I think that's what happened last year. We'll see this year, though. I'm also going to think about that more. You could also go Barton, Harris, Murray, Chandler, Moutier, all flyer plays. You could also go Plumlee, flyer play. But that's about it. It's still too risky for me. Here we go. Both are very good defensive teams. Everyone on the Boston side is a good defender. Everyone on the San Antonio side's a good defender this year. But it's going to be a close game. And Kyrie Irving owes me money. So, Kyrie, I'm probably going to plug you in tomorrow because you owe me money for literally screwing me over one game. Porzingis actually owes me money too. He freaking screwed me over that one time with that 17 points. And then also Draymond Green owes me money for scoring 19 points that one time where he got ejected. So, one day I might put them all in, and this might be the day I might go the money owing team and pick Green, Porzingis, and Irving. Maybe. But Kawhi's out tomorrow. You can obviously go LaMarcus Aldridge. He's been killing it. Like 40 points a game when Kawhi is out. So he's definitely one you can look at, upside at 50. Totally fine with that. They gotta go with him. Even Gay is doing well without him. Now on my radar, Pau Gasol is still lacking minutes, so maybe not on my radar yet. But you can look to for the San Antonio side. I would look at Leonard, or not Leonard. Aldridge is my first pick. I would actually go DeJounte Murray as my second pick. I know he hasn't been doing well lately, and he's very sporadic, but I think against Kyrie, he should do decently well. Boston is right in the middle at giving up offensive rebounds, so Murray gets a decent amount. He probably will get them all. I probably wouldn't look at anyone besides, or anyone under Danny Green. I'd probably just go Danny Green above. Even Danny Green's a good play. He's been doing very well lately, and they're going to need him tomorrow, so he's going to be fine. I'll look at the game logs last year, see if you guys will get convinced on any of the plays. Kyrie Irving owes me money, but so I think he's in a good spot here. I'm also very keen on Al Horford. He's in a great spot, I think. If he goes up against Aldridge, he's fine. Tatum is in a good spot. Brown, I do not like anymore. Now that the fact that Marcus Smart is back, it does take a lot of the time that Brown gets. Same thing with Rozier. His minutes get taken away by Marcus Smart. But I am fine with Marcus Smart, actually. He's very active. Very, very active when he gets on the court. So I am fine with that. But that's all I take from the Boston side. Let's look at a few games and we'll round it out. And then I'll try to give you guys a core four that we can be working with. I know it's not going to be the same because it's going to be Isaiah Thomas instead of Kyrie Irving. But we can see if the rest of the players on the team did decently well against San Antonio. It looks like they've been keeping it kind of close, as I expected, and they're both very good teams, and they're both pretty competitive, so this game should stay close, hypothetically. Horford, Bradley, Smart. No one really did that good, though. They were without Isaiah Thomas this game. Pau Gasol at 35 minutes, and that's probably because we don't see Aldridge anywhere. Was this 2015 or 2016? I think it was 2016, yeah. We don't see Aldridge anywhere, so can't really use that. Aldridge only 10 points, 4 assists, and 4 rebounds, but that was with Kawhi in. So even Green did well. That's like 30 points right there. Pretty decent. Horford did good here. And then Isaiah, so maybe even Smart. All right, let's go ahead and look at some of the best plays on the field in terms of value, and make some picks. So I would definitely, if I had a first pick, I'd pick up Simmons as some definitely solid value for sure. I'll probably go with Butler. I'd probably go with Butler. I would also go with, I think I'd be fine with DeRozan here. You can put him at the small forward spot too, and then I'd probably be fine with Aaron Gordon as well. I know that doesn't leave a lot of room left, but I think those players will definitely give you a solid floor to work with. I might mix and match those. I'm not sure if all of them are gonna go off, so it's tough. I'm telling you, it's tough because if this were last year, I can tell you who will do well last year. Like if we're going off of last year's stats, players that are in the best position would be Kyle Lowry going up against Damian Lillard. So if this was last year, it'd be like Kyle Lowry. I'd go James Harden because of the to the Philadelphia. I'd probably go Jokic, and then And then I'd probably go Vucevic because Davis wouldn't be going in the 4. So if it was based off last year's, or I'd probably go Millsap because he was actually amazing last year, especially against New York. So if it was last year, it'd be totally different. I would know who to pick. This year, a lot more tougher, a lot more difficult. So you have to kind of pick and choose here and there. No longer game stacks win anymore. It's very surprising if a game stack wins. Let's look at some of the cheap value. If there's anyone that we spot down here that we can possibly take for a cheap pickup. Nope. Maybe if he gets minutes, he can probably get you 7-8 times value if he gets minutes. If this is a blowout, which it might be, because Orlando's done on back-to-back, it might be a blowout, but I'm guessing it's gonna be kind of close. But it could be. If it's a blowout, he'll get a decent amount of minutes, probably like 20. He can definitely hit 20 points easily. Caspi, maybe. Caspi's been getting minutes with the Golden State Warriors, but it's too risky at that price. Charlotte players, still too risky. Risky. He's getting 24, 25, 20, 29 minutes, but it's so risky. Again, these are GPP plays. That's why they're down here. Let's see. I'm trying to see if I find anyone for you guys. So. Nope. There's not a lot. There's not a lot down here. I'll tell you that much. Revenge game for Jeff Withey. Against the Utah? Probably not. I don't know. Maybe. Brandon Paul been getting a decent amount of minutes lately. 19-21. Is this his breakout game? Probably not. It's very hard to find value down here. And that's the 3,000. That's all it does. I mean, your best bet at 3,000 would be Thesis. That's your best bet. That's your best value play. Andrew Harrison isn't his brother Aaron Harrison on the Charlotte? He probably got waived. Harrison, you could take a flyer on. He can get minutes anytime and go off anytime. I've seen him get like 30 or 40 sometimes. Burks, you can take a flyer on sometimes. If Mitchell's not doing well and he gets in foul trouble, then he's first off the bench. Powell, yeah, you can take a flyer on as well. Very cheap. You can get value. You can take a flyer on Adebayo. I just don't feel that comfortable with it. Amir Johnson's always a flyer play. Pat McConaughey, flyer play. Dieng, all the guys in the middle here are like flyers. No one really sticks out at me. Maybe a Nick Young. Is Fareed gonna get any minutes? Such a flyer. That whole Denver stuff is all screwed up. And McDermott might be a decent play. He hasn't hit below 15 or 14.7 at 3,500. His upside for 30 could get you what you need. Could go back to Frank Nicolina. Mario Chalmers is actually playing decent, getting minutes. He's actually, I actually really like him off the bench, so he might be a pretty sneaky play. Last time he routed 28 points, not bad. Siakam again, I do like him. It's just scary going up against Aminu. Marvin Williams actually might be a pretty good steal, especially if Kaminsky's out at 3,900. Flyers on all three of these. Terrence Ross can go off at any time. You know he can. Winslow, maybe. They might need his defense. They might need his defense tomorrow. Zeller, Ennis. Flyer. all these guys are flyers. I can't really say yes on any one person, but maybe Jared Jack again. The New York Knicks are 2-0 when they put Jack in the starting lineup. He's been getting 25 minutes. doing fairly well in his minutes. So 4,300 is still a cheap price for him. So you can, go right back to him. McConnell's also in a good spot. Matthews in a decent spot at 4,500. So he's been killing it. 25, 26, 32, 30, 35. So yeah, I'd be fine with Matthews at that price. And yeah, so tomorrow might be pretty tough to try to fit in all the value that you want. So I'm definitely going to be a mixed lineup as well. Same thing with you guys. So hopefully this helped you guys. I know it wasn't very structured. I'll definitely try to structure it more in the future when I have more time. It's just super tough. Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed listening. That's going to be it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.